All right, let's talk about one of the most stressful situations in any business today, a massive tech outage. We're going to pull back the curtain and go right inside the chaos to understand the art of leadership when everything goes down, and find out what's really happening behind the scenes.
You know that feeling, right? A website just won't load, your favorite app is totally frozen, a service you rely on is gone. For us, it's an annoyance, but inside that company, oh, it is a full-blown, all-hands-on-deck crisis. The pressure is insane, the stakes are sky-high, so what is actually going on in there?
So what do we picture? Probably a group of engineers huddled around a glowing screen, frantically hunting for one bad line of code. And look, sometimes that's part of it, but it's just not the whole story. The real challenge, the thing that separates success from total failure, probably isn't what you think.
Okay, so let's get into what happens when those systems fail. And to do that, we first have to tackle a huge misconception about how you even begin to solve a problem like this.
Here's the myth. You find your smartest coder, you lock him in a room with some coffee, and you wait for the magic to happen. But the reality is so much more complicated. A major outage isn't just a technical problem. It's a human crisis that has to be managed. It's a leadership challenge that takes a completely different set of skills.
And this gets us right to the heart of the matter. The solution isn't just about the code. It's about guiding people through some pretty intense pressure. And there's actually a formal name for this discipline. It's called Major Incident Management, or MIM for short.
This quote just nails it. Major incident management isn't really a subfield of IT at all. It's a subfield of leadership. Every single thing you do, every decision you make, it all flows from this one idea. So, who's the person actually running the show? Well, this might be a surprise, but the major incident manager, they're probably not your top engineer. They are, first and foremost, a leader. Their real job is to get a room full of experts, who, by the way, don't even report to them, to work together when everything's on fire. They're the protector of the company when it's at its most vulnerable.
So what does this leadership actually look like in the real world? In the heat of the moment. Let's walk through how a real leader steers the ship right through the middle of the storm.
Now, you might think that in a crisis, what you need is a general, someone to just take charge, bark orders, command and control. But that's usually the worst thing you can do. It just alienates people and shuts down collaboration. The goal is to harness the collective brain power of your experts, and you just can't do that by shouting at them.
And this kind of collaborative leadership gets put to the ultimate test on what's called the bridge call. That's the main conference call where everybody gathers to try and solve the problem. It's super high pressure, incredibly high stakes, and sometimes everybody is a lot of people.
I'm talking more than 100 people on a single call. You've got executives, engineers, managers, support staff, all of them just listening in.
But here's the catch. A number that high isn't a good sign. It's actually a symptom of a much bigger problem, a lack of trust. When your stakeholders and executives don't believe the situation is under control, they all dial in just to watch over your shoulder. In these moments, with all that pressure, teams can just freeze up. You get that dreaded silence on the call. A great leader knows how to break it, and they don't do it by having the magic answer. Nope. They do it by asking two super simple but powerful questions. What have you already looked at? And then, okay, so what can we look at next? It's that simple. It just gets the momentum going again.
Now let's be super clear. This doesn't mean the technical side doesn't matter. Of course it does. Having the right processes, the right tools, that stuff is absolutely critical. But, and this is the big but, the biggest improvements, the real game changers, they don't come from some new fancy software. They come from developing the human skills, the leadership, the communication. That's the most powerful lever you can possibly pull.
And speaking of communication, that brings us to the other equally critical part of the job, managing how everyone feels about the crisis. Because in this world, confidence is king.
This really breaks the job down into two main goals. The first one is obvious. Restore the service. Fix the problem as fast as you can. But the second one is just as important. You have to maintain the confidence of your stakeholders. They have to believe you've got it under control.
And to keep that confidence up, every single piece of communication has to have a purpose. You're either trying to get someone to do something, that's an action, or you're giving them information. Anything else is just noise, and noise kills confidence.
And this just puts it all in perspective. You could be a technical genius and fix the issue in record time, but if you left everyone in the dark while you did it, you still failed. You've lost their trust, and man, that is incredibly hard to earn back.
So let's bring this all home. What's the real lesson here? What's the big takeaway when you're trying to lead people through a fire?
It really all boils down to this one powerful idea. In any crisis, a server outage, a PR nightmare, anything, you are always fighting a battle on two fronts.
There's the problem itself, right? The broken line of code, the thing that needs to be fixed. But then there's the human response to the problem, the fear, the confusion, the pressure, and hopefully the collaboration.
And that is the ultimate lesson. Fixing the technical thing is only half the battle. A true resolution, a real win, means you successfully managed the human response. You led the people, you calmed the chaos, and you built confidence when it mattered the most. So, the next time you face a crisis, big or small, you're going to be up against these two problems. And we now know that great leadership means you can't solve the technical problem without managing the human one. So the real question is, which one will you focus on?